Welcome to sports fans, the MKT Show. I'm MKT, Gareth Cliff, Cliff Central Sport. It is the MKT Show. Great to be here. What's today? Tuesday, 24th. 1 month till Christmas. People still celebrate Christmas 2020 years later. Happy birthday, Jesus. Congratulations. It's the big one. It's the big 2020. Long time to be alive. Great time to be alive, by the way. Pandemic, if you're in Africa, South Africa in particular, heads are above water at the moment. Feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good, in the words of Larry. If you haven't seen Curb Your Enthusiasm, I can't help you. You have not lived. Hey, today, Tuesday, the classic, where I was right, where I was wrong. We'll get into that. And then Jack Grealish, my boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. Jack Grealish added it again. I'll get into that. We'll unpack all of that. 1947. Let's get into it. Right? Because I'm too humble. Almost to my detriment, really. I'm too humble. I'm going to tell you where I was right, where I was wrong. And, not a lot of people are happy to say where they're wrong. But I've got the confidence. To say when I'm wrong. Got to be confident, right? Real men know when they're wrong. They're willing to say, all right, get into it. Where I was right. Listen, I said when Jake White came, I said, expect the early success. It's what he does. He did it with the Springboks. He's done it wherever he's gone, right? But if you're the Bulls, just hold your horses. Don't expect a dynasty. This isn't Heineke Meyer, who's here for the long term, who cares about, he really cared about his players. We've had some of his players on here, and they kind of told us that he was more of a psychiatrist and he really, really cared about the players. Jake White doesn't care about players. He wants to win, much like Mourinho. But I was right. I said early success. Expect that to happen. What did Jake do? He went and fetched some veterans from overseas. He brought them all home. And they'll win. They'll win short term. Listen, I don't want people saying, oh, it doesn't count because of Super Rugby Unlocked. It counts, right? If you're a professional, you got to win, and you can only beat who's in front of you, right? So congratulations to the Bulls. Congratulations to Jake. I was dead right there, but hold your horses. So I'm writing this early success. Do I think it'll continue long term? I do not. But congratulations to the Bulls. Congratulations to perennial winner, right? Habitual offender when it comes to winning, Jake White. Congratulations to him. And the Bulls hopefully back. Hey, strong Bulls means strong Springboks, by the way. You look over the years, when the Bulls are strong, South African rugby strong. Great news. Where I was wrong. Listen, I said Frank Lampard, legendary player. He's a smart guy. I mean, he back in the day, he took tests. He was, I think, 150 plus, which is Mensa equivalent. So he could have gotten into Mensa. And I was wrong. I thought, big ego guys, don't think people act humble in front of a camera. When you're accomplished, the more people are accomplished, especially the higher you go into that rarefied air. Frank Lampard is top 50 of his playing generation. I don't care what you think of British football, right? He is an absolute legend. There's nothing in football he hasn't done. Top 4 for assists, top 4 for goals. Listen, there's an ego there. I don't care who you are. There is an ego. And you need that ego to achieve at the top level. You, especially as a player. Players, here's what people need to understand. Sportsmen are the most selfish people in the world, and quite rightly so. Is when you play your career, you have to create a bubble, get people around you trust, and get a routine, right? Everything else doesn't matter because you got 8 to 12 years to strike it rich. And if you want to become a legend, Frank Lampard, not really a money guy because he comes from wealth. His dad's a West Ham legend. His uncle's Harry Redknapp. So the money, I think, was always going to be fine. Private school educated guy. So not a money thing for Lampard. But some guys just have that hunger, right? And with that comes an ego. I was wrong. I thought Lampard would never switch Conte back to his position. He was looking for Jorginho to develop into an Andre Pirlo type of player. But we all saw it. And now that he's moved Conte into position, shock horror, Chelsea's second best defense in the league. What took him so long? It's the ego, yes, but it's unbelievable. I never thought he'd change. It's very, very difficult to tell accomplished, particularly men, to tell accomplished people that they're wrong. It's even harder for them to change themselves. He's the manager. He's all powerful. but he took some advice from wherever. I was dead wrong. I didn't think he'd be able to change, and I thought Chelsea season was spiraling out of control. Lampard moved Conte back to defensive midfield, the number 6 position, where he's been a World Cup winner and a league winner. Unbelievably successful at the 6th position. Congratulations to Frank Lampard and Chelsea. Where I was right. Listen, I said earlier in the season, right? I've said it now for months. You've been watching with us with Vody Miller, of course, on the skip pass. I've been saying Beauden Barrett. Right now, there's articles coming out about Beauden Barrett and how he's actually it's really a mess because everyone is comparing him to Dan Carter. I said he's nowhere near that level. Right? He's not a fly half. He's not a wing. He's not a fullback. What he is a utility back. So, right, accomplished guy, 2-time World Player of the Year. What is he going to do? He's naturally going to want to take over the game. He's stunting Mwanga because the Mwanga you see in the All Black jersey is not the Crusaders Mwanga. Right? Could we just humble ourselves to say Mwanga should do what he does at the Crusaders, which is control the game? There's nothing wrong with being a game manager, by the way. Stop trying to turn Mwanga into Barrett. That's not what he is. Mwanga is a classic 10. He just happens to have those gifts, ability to run, sidestep, etc. Make that a bonus. Stop trying to make him a running fly half. That's not what he is. He's a distributor. He's a tactical kicker. Beauden Barrett wants to get involved in sharing the responsibility. He's not a fly half. Get him off the pitch. I've said it. Geordie Barrett is the better Barrett. Give the team over to Mwanga. At the moment, Ian Foster's trying to do both. And there's an article that's just come out now. You can read it in SA Rugby magazine. It's coming out in New Zealand Rugby. Barrett's got to go. He's the problem in the system because you need to pick a specialist 15. The nonsense of picking a 15 who can be a 10, get out of here. Dynasty where you had a fullback who was a part-time fly half as well, and you share the responsibility. You can have 10-12 for sharing that responsibility as playmaker. Beauden Barrett is not an international class or a world-class fly half. Forget it. Stop getting excited by the flash, right? Test rugby will ask you questions, and I don't care how great you think you are. Eventually, if you've got limitations, which he does, which is the lack of a tactical kicking game, and he can't distribute. What he can do is play make at the line. That's very different to distributing 10, 12, 15 plays because that's what the All Blacks need. That's what the All Blacks do. Everybody thinks the All Blacks are this flashy team. They're not really. They're highly structured under Henry and Hansen. What were they? Highly structured, and everybody knows where to be at the right time. No flash, no fuss. It looks flashy because everything goes quickly. But the All Blacks are they're actually a machine. And what do they do? Much like the Crusaders. They're the Crusaders on the next level because they grind you down. When you see the All Black plays, what do you see? 12, 15, 18 phases. Beauden Barrett wants to make plays immediately. That doesn't work. That doesn't work at the All Black level. It doesn't work at Test match level. Argentina have exposed that. And we kind of saw on the weekend, no good. No good last weekend. So Barrett out, I was dead right. He's a gadget guy. Bring him off the bench. He's electrifying, but he's nothing more than that. Dead right. Listen, I was wrong. Here's where I was wrong. Argentina are here to compete. I thought they'd be walked over. They had, I think, 8 coronavirus cases in that game before the All Blacks. Montera has been unbelievable. He's led his troops. They are warriors. And the Argentines are upper level. It seems that the championship, it seems that some of their players going to Europe, they're stepping up. They're at this level. And it's great to see. Good for the competition. Good for Southern Hemisphere rugby. Australia maybe took them lightly on the weekend. And Australia have never had a great pack. RG's got into them. Love to see that. I was dead wrong about Argentina competing in the Tri-Nations. Where I was right, look, Mikel Arteta's got a thankless task, an impossible task. But I said to you, 3 to 5 years before Arsenal don't win, 3 to 5 years before Arsenal have the mentality to be competitive. Forget the talent. That's going to take a while, and they've got some talent. 3 to 5 years, and we saw it on the weekend. You can't have Nicola Pepe being gassed up by some guy and responding. 72 million, I expect you to be a senior statesman straight away. It's his second season now. Like, now we're not waiting. We're not waiting for Pepe to catch up. That's not what we're doing. And I was dead right. I said Arsenal are 3 to 5 years away because there's just too much dead wood. You can't expect to have Rob Holding, Hector Bellerin, guys like Pepe, right? Granit Xhaka. That's not going to win it. I'm sorry. That ain't it. Willock. That's not going to win. That's not going to win at this level. Championship, yes. Top 8, yes. At this level, I told you, Arsenal 3 to 5 years away from winning. At least, by the way, Nicola Pepe epitomized all of the problems. By the way, that's the easy way out. People think being a fake hard man, because that's what he is. He's a fake hard man headbutting somebody. No. What do? You wait for the ball, and in football, we call it sticking it on somebody, and you give it to him in possession, right? You maybe stick a tackle on him late. There's ways to take care of yourself in football. Everybody in the Premier League, people think these guys are soft. Listen, to get to that level, you need to be able to look after yourself. What Pepe told you was, I'm tapping out. Mentally, I'm tapping out. I'm bullied. And at that level, listen, you want to play international sport. You've got to be an alpha male. It is dog eat dog there. There is no time for beta behavior at the top. They will chew you alive. That's what happened there. That is Arsenal personified. Soft. That was soft. It's what we call soft in football. I was dead right. Arsenal 3 to 5 years away from achieving. Pepe's a flop. He's got to go. It's his last game for Arsenal in any sort of serious capacity. Expect to see him in the Europa League, the Carabao Cup, etc. Moving on. I was dead right. Arsenal miles off it. Where I was wrong, listen, the LA Lakers, I thought Rob Pelinka was a joke. I got it so wrong. Montrez, Gasol, Schroeder coming in now. It is going to be a mess right off next season. LeBron can count number 5. He's got a ring for the thumb now. He's got a ring for the thumb. It's 5. He'll match Kobe Bryant, and now we're gonna. I'm already clear as the greatest player of all time, but now Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss have done the work. Rob Pelinka, I think, obviously will get GM of the season again next season. All that needs to happen is LeBron needs to just get LeBron to the playoffs. It's shortened season, 72 games, so I'm okay with LeBron sitting out 12. So sit out the first 5, LeBron. It's been a shortened. It's been a 10-week. Sort of break. It's normally a 4-month break. LeBron sit out the first 12 games, manage those minutes. He plays 15 to 20 minutes a game. Results don't matter. You let LeBron cook for the last sort of 60 games, and then we'll get to the playoffs, and this thing's a wrap. Because now, here's the great thing about Schroeder. Schroeder averaged 18 points last season, plus he's a genuine point guard. Now LeBron doesn't always need to be on the ball. Bring his usage down. LeBron can be on the wing, take some plays off. Right, bring his usage down, especially in the regular season. Let's just get it there. First or second seed actually doesn't matter, because with this lineup, I mean, Gasol's going to defend the post, and then you got AD and Gasol looking up the post. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. I mean, LeBron was unstoppable last season with just AD. Gasol's big help. You got Trez now, who's the sixth man of the year. I mean, come on, now. Montrezl Harrell, it's over the top. And listen, he's come up from the basement. Steve Ballmer, you can have all that Microsoft money. Of course, Steve Ballmer, richest owner in world sport. Not enough. Because in basketball, for those who don't know, you can pay luxury tax. Could have kept Trez, but sixth man of the year. He says, I want to go upstairs. I want to win a ring. LeBron James. I was dead wrong about Rob Pelinka and LeBron on his way to number 5. Just get to the postseason, LeBron. That's all we care about. Where I was right. Listen, I said at the beginning of the year, right? Patrick Mahomes got a $502 million contract. Yes, that's $500 million to play sport. I said he was horribly, horribly underpaid. Horribly underpaid. $502 million. This is the already, just in terms of what he can do, run, throw, accuracy, you take the whole spectrum. Patrick Mahomes is already purely on talent. Now he has to mass up. Listen, he probably needs to get 3 or 4 Super Bowls to be the greatest of all time. But he's the greatest talent of all time. Nobody has the spectrum. Nobody has the arsenal of tools that this young man has. Patrick Mahomes at $500 million is horribly underpaid. He's horribly underpaid. He's taken, obviously, small money up front. What he says is, surround me with talent. We can keep Kelsey. We can keep the cheetah. I mean, we can keep everybody, and we can keep that O-line. By the way, that can protect me. Is let's really go for it up front. I mean, his cap hit, I think this year is like 13 million. It'll be 25, I think, next season, which is nothing. Generally, you want to keep the quarterback's contract underneath 13%. The big money comes, I think, at year 8 or 9. So they've got him on a team-friendly deal. but he is horribly underpaid at 500 million. What he did again in the last minute and a half this weekend against the they're no longer, they're Las Vegas now, right? The Raiders was unbelievable. He's underpaid at 500 million. I said that at the beginning. He's a surgeon. He's unbelievable. He can run. He can throw from different platforms, the arm angles. He could have played the in Major League Baseball. So he can throw it from anywhere to anywhere. The connection between him and Kelsey, him and the cheetah, unbelievable. And now he's got Le'Veon Bell. Should he need that bell cow? He's got, it's just unbelievable. Patrick Mahomes, unpaid, the greatest. He's already the greatest talent. Forget it. Forget Tom Brady. Yes, most accomplished. Nobody has been this before. He is everything, quite phenomenal. I was dead right there. Where I was wrong, listen, Gareth Bale's fallen off a cliff. Gareth Bale has fallen off a cliff. I said Gareth Bale is the best player in the Premier League at the beginning of the season. Got to own it. I was dead wrong. He has fallen off a cliff. It's not there anymore. You remember the days when Bale backstick, you cross it in there. He is unstoppable at Real Madrid. Remember that header, that tremendous header, that bicycle kick in the Champions League final, all those moments, that famous goal, of course, against Barcelona, extra time, that physicality Bale had. Almost, he was an 800-meter runner in school. No, sir. I was dead wrong. He's fallen off a cliff. That raw power's gone. The injuries have eaten at him. Perhaps it's the fact that he hasn't played any serious football in 16 months. But I'm afraid the golf course has cost Gareth Bale, and I was dead wrong there. I have to say it. I said he's the best player in the league. What he is now is the biggest superstar in the league. I'm afraid it's over. So if Tottenham think they're going to win the league by having Bale as rotation in, I'm afraid not. I'm afraid not. It's not there anymore. There was a particular moment 2 games ago where he should have exploded past the left back. He had him all dead to rights, and he couldn't go past him. He couldn't make the byline, and I thought, oh dear. Oh dear. Bale 3 years ago makes mincemeat of that. I was dead wrong. Gareth Bale, no longer the best player in the Premier League, in my opinion, but certainly the biggest superstar. I was wrong there. Listen, where I was right. I hate to pile on. But I was dead right about Paul Pogba. I've been saying it for a year now. More. Man United had their best season since he's been here without him under Jose Mourinho. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer just was being stubborn. Right? And I guess there was some pressure from the top. Listen, he's the Adidas marquee guy. But at some stage, Ole doesn't care about that. Ole's got enough money. Who cares if you fire him? What he's not doing is losing his legacy at Man United. Now, Fred, Matic, McTominay, that's the rotation. I think in the Champions League, maybe you play him against, I think they're playing the Turkish lads, Istanbul. So play him there. But Oli now sees that, unfortunately, you cannot put somebody at the number 6-8 hybrid role who doesn't have tactical responsibility. I'm sorry. Because especially now, you know that Bruno is willing to do the creativity. Right? You don't need Pogba creating. What you need is a functional guy, is do the running for Bruno, get the ball to Bruno quickly. That's it. Pogba likes a lot of touches. So not only does he clog it going forward, right? He's a bit of a bottleneck for the ball, because what you want is Bruno, and then the pace can work. Because then you've got Martial, and he's on his horse, and then you've got Mr. MBE there in Rashford. His pace is electric, and Bruno distributes early. That's what you want. Win the ball, be dogged in the midfield. Pogba's not your best option. And quite frankly, I think you don't need that distraction with a young team in the dressing room, because you already got a problem with your captain. I don't want to say anymore. So I was dead right about Paul Pogba. Just let it go. Men are so bad at admitting when they made a mistake. I love alpha males, but one thing, listen, there's no free lunch. You get an alpha male. One thing alpha males are terrible at, admitting they were wrong. But you need that conviction. You need that sense of conviction to win at the top. Pogba, move off it. Move off it. Successful companies move off people. Pogba, you made a mistake. It's taken you 4 years. Listen, Warren Buffett's greatest thing. He says, when you've made a mistake, the worst thing you can do is that your next decision turns it into a disaster. We all make mistakes. What we cannot afford to do is, once we've made a mistake, then the next decision we make turns that mistake into a catastrophe. That you cannot afford. And you're allowed mistakes in life. Right? Buffett says, I'll take mistakes. I've made lots of investment mistakes. What I cannot handle is too many disastrous investments, because that'll kill you. Mistakes are okay. You can recover from those, particularly early on. But with Pogba, you made a mistake. Move on. It's okay. We all make bad investments. We all have a bad car. We've all been in bad relationships, right? He's human. Man United human. Woodward's human. Move on now. I was dead right there. Pogba's out. McTominay is better than him. Fred's better than him. This is just for the functionality of the role. Just accept it. Forget about the Instagram. Forget about what Twitter's telling you. Twitter's not real life. Let me tell you something. You can lie to the media. You can lie to social media. You can lie to all of your fanboys. You can lie to those people. But you cannot lie to his players and coaches. They've seen it. They see you at training. They know what's what. They don't care what your Instagram following is. They want to win. And it's Man United. Listen, Man United was here and massive before Pogba. They'll be here and massive without Pogba. Ollie's realized that. And Ollie, by the way, has got favor at the club. No matter what Woodward says, what the Glazers say, is they love Ollie. So I think he's one of very few people that can drop the marquee guy, because Adidas will be putting massive pressure on him to play. All right, finally, where I was wrong. I got to say it again. Ziyech is unbelievable. Ziyech is unbelievable. He is quite sensational. I had my doubts because I said, listen, the Dutch league, come on. The Dutch league, really? And everybody's raving about him. I thought, 30 million plus, Chelsea got a real deal here. You often get what you pay for. But if this is what Chelsea paid for, my God, what were other clubs doing? Because this guy is unreal. In Spanish, you call it La Pausa. He looks like he's got that extra second, puts his foot on the ball. The game seems to stand still. He's, for Chelsea, what I think Everton hoped James Rodriguez would be. And the great thing about Ziyech, the work rate, number one, James doesn't have that. But then also the willingness to take the game on when it's tight. That I love in a playmaker. Is you don't hide on the wings when it's tight. Is he comes back and he demands the ball. James doesn't do that. James wants it when things are going well. Right? Pogba wants it when things are going well. But when we 2-0 down, 3-0 down, and you see now with Chelsea and it's just absolutely the signing of the season, and I was dead wrong there. I'll have to give my signings of the season in December or January. He has been unbelievable. I was dead wrong. I didn't think he transitioned very well to the power game of England from the finesse game of Holland and Europe. But Ziyech is unbelievable. Just forget the stats for a minute. Sometimes the great Colin Cowherd, an idol of mine, says sometimes leave the analytics and focus on the manalytics. The manalytics tell you this guy is wild. Because, listen, what do the great players do? Is it looks like the game's slow for them. He looks like he's playing with his mates in the park. And then, he's another level. So Ziyech, great deal. And I was dead wrong there. Love to know what you think. That is where I was wrong, where I was right. Got any questions? Put them in the comments section and I will take a look at those. All right. Listen, Jack Grealish at it again. Some news came out today. If you didn't see it, people say I'm too harsh on him, too harsh on Pogba. Listen, here's the thing. I've been a rowdy 20-year-old. I'm not saying I'm better than him. I just know how long it takes to get out of bad habits. Listen, from 9 till 27, I was in some horrendous habits. I know how hard it is. Which is why I will tell you and say it again. If you are a parent, be hard on your kids. I don't care how hard you are. I'm not talking about physical abuse. I'm talking about structure. I'm talking about discipline. And you're relentless. Be relentlessly disciplined. If your kids hate you when they're young, whatever. Be hard on your kids. Listen, let your kids hate you when they're young. Young kids don't know what they want. Anybody, a mentor of mine says anybody below 40 doesn't know their, I can't say, that term is crude, but she has a certain way of putting it. But they don't know their back from their front. Let me put it that way, is what she says. Anybody below 40 by her standards. But anybody below 18 doesn't know what they want, where they're going, who they're going with. If you're a parent, be hard on your kids. I'll tell you why. Right? Is if you're not hard on your kids, you'll pay for it when they're adults. You think they hate you when they're young, and you feel guilty when your kids go, oh, you don't love me, mom, I hate you, dad, I hate you. You think you feel bad then. You just wait till they're 25 and you're dealing with an incompetent brat at 25. Still living at home, still living off mom and dad, doesn't have a job, doesn't even think about contributing rent, doesn't understand relationships, doesn't know how to have respect for people. You don't even know if he or her is going to be able to date anybody because you didn't show them how to be an adult. The consequences of life, your actions have reactions. There's consequences for everything. Be hard on your kids. Listen, Jack Grealish has been charged again with an extra driving charge now. So that's 4. Forget the stuff he's done in the past. This is in lockdown. Not only did he break lockdown, but he's got 4 driving charges in lockdown as well. So on top of the breaking lockdown charge, I mean, but I don't blame him because I've been giving it some thought. You know what? Obviously, everybody must take responsibility. So fair enough. He can weigh his responsibility. But institutions, and in this case, parents, right? When you pay Jack Grealish, when you give him 5 years, £140,000 a week, what you're telling him is everything you're doing is great. Don't pay talent. Pay character. Don't pay talent. Pay character. When you pay Jack Grealish, what you're saying is everything you're doing, Jack, and trust me, Aston Villa knew. The deal came after this stuff happened, by the way, because this deal's very recent, and what they were doing was protecting an asset. But what you've got to do sometimes is just let them go. Ravel Morrison left Man United. Let him go. Villa would be fine without Grealish. Everybody thinks he's Zinedine Zidane. He's not. But this is the price you pay as a child. If you're not hard on them when they're small, now you've paid him. So what can you tell him now? Now he's breaking lockdown. He's doing what he wants. He's drinking on boats. There's no self-awareness, but you've paid him. You're rewarded. And Aston Villa knew. Listen, a football club of that magnitude has its fingers all over Birmingham. There's nothing they don't know in the second city. They knew. And what did they do? They decided to look the other way. Well, this is what you get. And then you make him your captain. Don't enable bad behavior. Pay character, not talent. This is what happens. Go and look up the article. I'm not making it up. People think I'm bashing on him. I blame Aston Villa for this. I blame Aston Villa. Do not pay him. Do not give him that contract, right? Because you know what he is. When somebody shows you who they are, folks, believe them the first time, please. Believe them the first time. I'm sick and tired of my friends. I'm 34 years old. I'm not having my 34-year-old friends come and tell me, oh, listen, I thought I could change him when I met him at the Bapdrank. No, I don't want to hear it if he's getting drunk on a Sunday and you want to come and complain to me 9 months into the relationship. When somebody shows you who they are up front, believe them. Jack Grealish has been this since 16. He's been displaying this behavior, and they didn't cut it then. You know why? They said, oh, your talent. And then you did the worst thing you can ever do with bad behavior. You affirm it with money. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. I'm sorry, I'm out. And that's Villa's problem. But let's get to the real crux of the matter. I told you, England is a corporate organization. There's a reason they got Gareth Southgate. Listen, everybody, successful people, one of the great things about successful people is they're realistic. They know the truth. They may do a bit of marketing and window dress things. But the great thing about successful people is they swallow bitter pills quite quickly. Right? Successful people swallow bitter pills. The English Football Association know that they're not good enough to go and win anything. You know why they got Gareth Southgate? Is they need the image to be rebuilt of English football. So what they're doing is you go and look at Southgate from Crystal Palace to Middlesbrough. Nobody respects him. There's nobody in English football who has a negative word to say about Gareth Southgate if you go and ask around. He's a 5-star stellar bloke. He's done all the hard yards, and he's been in leadership all the way. So we need the corporate image. We need our corporate guy. If you think Gareth Southgate, for one, will ever be bent by anybody, that's not, you're highly mistaken. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been a leader his whole career, from under 21s to Crystal Palace to Aston Villa to Middlesbrough. Leader. He will not bend for anybody. He'd rather get fired. He doesn't need the money. He's all about legacy. He's all about pride. He loves England. That's why he likes Mason Mount. That's why he likes these. That's why Callum Hudson-Odoi doesn't get called up. The Grealish thing was probably a bit of pressure from upstairs, a little bit of social pressure. Forget it now. And I told you, I told you before, I said, it's a corporate company. Listen, I don't mind if my peripheral players are wild. So when you had Gascoigne, everybody compares Gascoigne to this Grealish era now. No, because let me tell you the difference then. Is Gascoigne, although his talent was central, as an English figure, he was quite peripheral, actually. Because the leaders of the team were Tony Adams, right? You had Stuart Pearce, right? David Seaman. That was the core of the team. Gaza was more of extra. He was the icing. He wasn't the cake. Now, I've always said, listen, talent will get you there, or character will get you there. You need talent to take you over the top, which is nice for Gaza, is take us over the top, but you're not the main thing, right? They had Lineker, high character guy. They had some Paul Ince, high character guy. That's what England was built around. England now are saying, oh, Jack Grealish, we want you to be a leader. Gaza wasn't a leader. England never positioned him as a leader. That's the difference, is that Grealish is being positioned as a leader. That's not going to work. If you think Gareth Southgate for one moment is having this, and I said it, I think 2 weeks ago, right, is that Gareth Southgate is an Aston Villa guy. You don't think he's been speaking to people like Gareth Barry and the coaching staff? He is beloved for the FA Cup win at Aston Villa, right? Do you think they don't love him at that club and they haven't told him what Grealish is? They know what kind of guy he may, and I'm not joking, he may get an Aston Villa statue one day. They will be honest with him and tell him, this is what you're dealing with Jack. And he goes, no, sir. He got some pressure from upstairs, and this is why he doesn't get picked. Listen, if you're a Man United fan, let me just tell you something. You dodged the bullet there. Because you don't need it. You don't need it with Jay Lings in there. Jesse Lingard, Pogba. I mean, your Mykonos captain, we know what he's been up to. Martial. These guys, right? Talent, not character guys. Pogba's getting flushed out. I think you may see one or two next. Imagine you'd added Grealish to the Pogba, Lingard, Martial mix. Imagine that. Man United, I know everybody likes talent. Character first. Character will always win long term, people. It's the same old story, but the truth is, it is always the same old story. Character will always win long term. And we make these mistakes in life. By the way, we're human, right? Is we give more beautiful people a chance, right? If you're beautiful, we trust you more. Doesn't mean you're a better person. We just do. Perhaps it's genetic, whatever it is, right? Talented people, we give them more of a chance because they appeal to our probably illogical side. They're a primal side of us. So, which is why you've got to be concerned about what? If you're a statistician or an accountant, or you're in computers or chemistry, substance over form. So, substance over form. If you're in accounting, you know exactly, the numbers can look a certain way, but if you massage them, they'll tell you the truth, right? If you put them under a little bit of a torture, you got to torture the numbers. A friend of mine says, she's an accountant. She says, you have to torture the numbers to get true value. Jack Grealish looks like the real deal. In South Africa, we call it the real Magoya. So he really looks like the real deal. He's not. Listen, in life, right? And this is why I don't like the hair and the calves and the short socks. The bigger the pageantry, right? And this isn't me, this is Albert Einstein, but I'm just saying it my way. So the more pageantry, the more of a show somebody is, the more outward somebody is. Generally, the golden rule is if I have to put on a big show, I'm trying to cover for something else, right? The guy after his second divorce and he's a mess, what does he do? He goes and buys a sports car. Hey, big show, everybody. I'm okay. Midlife crisis. Don't worry about me. I'm doing great. I got a sports car. I got a girlfriend who's 20 years younger than me. The bigger the show, the smaller the ability generally. Right? Think of the greats. Often not showy. Cristiano Ronaldo, for all of his haters out there, and I'm a Messi guy. Ronaldo's a low-fuss guy. You know why? Because he says, I'll see you on the football pitch. I'm not showing you. He's got his businesses and stuff. He handles that stuff. His social media is clean. It's neat. Ronaldo's not talking smack. Ronaldo's not low socks, whatever. He's got his kit on. Get out there, get my hair right. I'm out there. All right, I'll see you on the football field. Leo Messi, you barely know he's there. I mean, if you met Leo Messi out there, you'd think he's some computer programmer from Hammanskraal. Hammanskraal, by the way, is the middle of nowhere in South Africa. So the bigger the show, the lower the ability. Jack Grealish, a living example. And the good lesson for all of us in life. And I need to learn this lesson. Substance over form. Stop worrying about what something looks like. What is it really? And by the way, people always show you who they are. You just have to give them the chance. If you give people long enough, they'll show you who they are. Here we go. We're here again. And by the way, Grealish has had this. Trust me, I was living in the UK when he was young. Everybody knew about his talent, but he's been like this since he was 16. Problem is, and maybe he needs this. He needs to get out of Birmingham. Because I was on a text message earlier by somebody who is in Birmingham, and he doesn't know him, but he knows the football scene well. He's still out there. He's living like a lad. Ravel Morrison part 2. Sometimes you need to move. Problem is, with a guy like him, is your problems always follow you. You can't run away from your problems. Somebody needs to get a hold of the lad, deal with the character. We saw it with Paul Gascoigne. We saw it with Diego Maradona. We saw it with Ravel Morrison. We're starting tragically to see it with Paul Pogba. We saw it with Mario Balotelli. I'm sorry. I'm a corporate guy. You know what? People call me boring. Folks, let me tell you something. The only truth I know from my own life, discipline is freedom. Discipline is freedom. I know it's cool. I know the bad boy on a motorbike with his jacket. I know that's awesome. All right. No, thank you. I'd rather have an SUV. Can drive all terrain. Yeah, discipline is freedom. I know what I like. I want to know. I want to know my plan. I like a structure. I like people I can rely on. I don't care how talented or beautiful you are. Can I rely on you when things are going terribly? By the way, you know why you need character? Because when things are going well, Jack Grealish is great. Listen, when you're in great shape, fudge is great. It's great to be able to eat fudge twice a week. It's when your kids aren't behaving. You're in the middle of a divorce. What do you do then? Where's the character then? How do you treat your kids? How do you treat your family? Can you still perform at work when your wife wants to leave you? That's when character matters, right? Because when you're in the trenches is when I need the character. Well, this is what happens. This is what happens. You got to be able to move on from high talent, low character people. But I blame Aston Villa, and I love Gareth Southgate for being out on Grealish. And I tell you what, he's not going to say it because he's a classy guy, but Southgate's like, he knew this because he's got connections. Listen, in Birmingham, he is a king. By the way, they love Gareth Southgate at Aston Villa, which is the second city for those who don't know. They love Southgate. He'll have connections throughout all of Parliament. He knew what was coming down the line with Grealish, but he's not going to come out because he's a classy guy. He's not going to come out and say nonsense. But now Southgate is going, the truth will always come out. And now Southgate goes Grealish out and people go, oh. This is a great thing about having character. I didn't have it for long. I know lots of people around me. Listen, I got a sister who's high character, by the way. So many lessons. 4 years younger than me, high character. I've learned so much from her, from my mother, 2 high character people. And I'm fortunate to have high character people in my life. It matters. And by the way, a good lesson for people. Jack Grealish, it matters. This is why. Parents, if you have kids, be hard on your kids. I don't care how hard you are on your kids, right? Because you know what's important for young kids to hear? At all times. And my father used to say this to me all the time. I've said it before. Bazothina bantu. And that is not to say we're worried about literally what people are going to say. It translates to, if you want a direct translation, what will people say? But what my father was saying and the course is saying actually means we have a standard, right? We have a standard for how we behave. Forget about Bazothina bantu out there. Is what does your character say about yourself? Because if you don't take yourself seriously, why should anybody else? And Jack Grealish is showing you he doesn't take himself seriously. You can't tell me he doesn't know he's in the limelight. When he breaks lockdown, right? And then the worst part is, listen, sometimes you got to manage your perception. If you're a leader, you need to be able to wear 2 hats. Machiavelli's the prince says must be 2 hats. One when he's with the people, one when he needs to make decisions about the people. Those are 2 very different hats. When you're with the people, you must feel like you are with Grealish has that part right. What happens when you got to go corporate? You need to be able to wear a different hat. Tidy it up. Tidy it up. I hate to pile on, but, you know, be hard on your kids, because kids need to hear this. It matters what you do all the time. What you say and what you matters. Jack Grealish never heard that. I blame Aston Villa again there. All the time. P's and Q's all the time. Be hard on your kids. Aston Villa weren't hard on their child. And then they entitled him with 5 years, £140,000 a week. The animal's out the cage now. Gareth Southgate. He must... Somewhere, Gareth Southgate's smiling. He's going, this is why. But he's a classy guy. He's not going to come out and say it. I can't hide it. I knew it. I know guys who live in Birmingham. It's over. It's over. He's 25 now. I'm sorry, too old. You're on big money. You're on big boy money, and you want to be in the England team. Forget it. I'd like to know what people think. So before I take the questions, remember to push this one. If you like the content, that helps us move up the algorithm. Be a friend, tell a friend, by the way. Share the content. And it's an absolute pleasure to have you with us. So let me take some questions. I got 3 questions here. Tabo Padi says, I enjoyed so much when we get life lessons from football brought to you by Prof Mbulelo. This goes to show the kind of discipline you need to have when you play professional football. Tabo, when you do anything, discipline is freedom. I cannot spread that gospel enough. I'm not a politician, so I don't have to say things to make people happy. I don't associate with people. I don't associate with people that aren't disciplined. I just don't. I'm out. If you're not disciplined, I don't want you in my personal space. Because if you don't have discipline, I don't know what you're capable of. And I know what I want to do, right? I know what I want to do. I can't have anybody affecting that. Discipline is freedom. When you're disciplined, right, what it means, and I think the greatest thing for me about discipline, I'd love to know what people think of this word. By the way, hit me up at MKT Inspires or sport at Cliff Central. The beauty of life is people will only treat you how you let them treat you. When you're disciplined and you take yourself seriously, people can see that. People aren't stupid. When you take yourself seriously, people will treat you seriously. Jack Grealish is not serious. So Southgate's not going to treat him serious. That's why he's at Aston Villa and not Tottenham. Because in football, people talk. You think Man United, if they really wanted, couldn't have paid 90 million? They could have paid 150 million. They don't care. United's a juggernaut. They did the and they may have seen, by the way, this magistrate's court 4 driving charges. Trust me, Man United have access to the highest levels of government. They saw this down the pipeline and they said, we've got to deal with what? Mykonos, we've got to deal with Pogba, we've got to deal with Lingard, we've got to deal with guys getting haircuts in lockdown. No, thank you. Not right now. Not right now. I'm telling you. And I said it, by the way, if you watch the show, I'll try and find the show and post it up. I said it. I said, look, they're not going to sign him or Jadon Sancho. You know why? They don't need the indiscipline in the dressing room. I said it at the beginning. If you've been watching the show since the beginning, I said it. Sancho, no chance. And Grealish, no chance. Sad. Discipline is freedom. Hate to tell you. And by the way, I can't say this enough. I know it sounds like a broken record. Be hard on your kids. Tell them what you do and say matters all the time. Not some of the time, all of the time. The British call it P's and Q's. Mind your P's and Q's. Jack Grealish needs to hear that. Gulchen Gosi says there are different types of leadership. They do not need to put an armband around him. Gulchen, I agree. I think, leadership, and we live in an interesting society, but leadership, you generally want to tier leadership. And by the way, unfortunately, let me just tell you something. You can't choose leaders. People will follow who they want. If you leave a bunch of kids, they'll gravitate to some people and won't to others. And there is a hierarchy, and I know people in these soft times don't like to hear it. There is alpha, there is beta. The science suggests it's genetic, but we're getting to a nature versus nurture kind of conversation now. I agree. I think Grealish could maybe be a leader in terms of the core leadership group, because that was Adams, that was Bold, right? That was Ince, that was Lineker. Those are the high character guys. David Seaman. And then we've got Gaza, but we've got him on a leash because all we care about is his talent, and he's not directing the temperature of the dressing room. That's not what Gaza was doing. Grealish is directing he's setting the tempo in the dressing room. And if you let him get away with it, Because you've let Pogba get away with so much, by the way, at Man United. That's why it's so loose. That's why your captain can go to Mykonos and feel that way. Pogba's doing it. Lingard's doing it. These Martial's doing it. We know what it's like. It's a mess. There's a reason United was so good, right? Is Roy Keane on the nobody's ego in here. You can have whatever car you want out there. Roy Keane, you come in here, it's all business. And if Fergie's not here, I don't care. There's a standard. And I agree, Guhle. I have to agree with you. There's different styles of leadership, and there are different ways in order to tier the leadership so that you redistribute his leadership style. And maybe Grealish on the football pitch, in practice, he's your leader, and then he's not your corporate face, because that's not for him. It's clearly not for him. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. He's got no interest in being serious. What you want is the adults at the press conferences. That hair, the socks. Listen, I don't care what people say. Call me boring, call me whatever. I don't care. I understand how corporates work. Football is corporate and it's unapologetic. Jack Grealish is not corporate. What he wants to do is push back against authority. Let me tell you something about authority. And I felt the wrath of it. Authority likes to flex its muscle. You know what authority likes to do? Don't push back too much. They'll fire you. And the problem with guys like Grealish is that they associate fame and their Twitter friends and their friends when you're buying them drinks. Remember, they reaffirm that behavior. Worst of all, Aston Villa paid him. Oh. But when your friends and Twitter, and you know what you need to surround yourself with? I think we all know this as we get older. Stop surrounding yourself with people that tell you what you want to hear. Start getting around some people that tell you what you need to hear. It's so sad for me. Everybody thinks I take pleasure in Grealish. I don't. I've been him. Nowhere near the talent. I mean, his talent is, he could be Gaza. Get around some people that'll tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. What he's hearing, his reinforcement. You know why his behavior carries on? I know footballers. You know what most of them do? Ravel Morrison. If you don't know who Ravel Morrison, go look at his social media. Go and type Ravel Morrison Ferrari. Balotelli, Pogba. The people around them, right, tell them what they want to hear. Get some people around you that tell you what you need to hear. That's what I'd say. And Guhle, you're making a brilliant point. We'll take one last comment from Guhle Nkosi here. Guhle says, it should not matter what Jack does off the field as long as he performs on the field. So, Guhle, what the argument you're making there is production tolerance, right? So that's fair enough in a world where it's not professional. But here's the thing. There is a corporate image to be held. And that's fine to say if you are working at a bank. For me, if you've got a normal job, great. When you're the head of a £2 billion organization, Aston Villa, a £5 billion organization, the English Football Association, it matters what you do off the field. Because when I put you at the top of the totem pole, you can't you erase your privileges. You're not the lad anymore. This is why, Gucha, I always say, don't chase money, chase leadership, because leadership behaves differently. And leadership's not for everybody. The thing about Grealish is he wants to lead, right? He wants to lead. He wants to be the lad. For me, is that argument only works when you're Maradona, Ronaldo, or Messi. There are probably 15 to 20 players in the history of football where, for me, that argument sticks. It doesn't matter what you do off the field. But let me tell you something. It does matter what you do off the field. Because long term, even Maradona couldn't outrun his stuff off the field. Diego Maradona could not outrun his actions off the field. Right? And I'm afraid what we'll do is we'll tolerate, right, as much as you produce. The problem with Grealish is I have to tolerate more than he produces. He's not Gaza. He's not Zidane, right? So I could go with your argument if he was giving me 15 goals a season and 10 assists a season. Fine. Okay. Then if he's getting me into the top 6 and I'm Aston Villa and he's going to take England to the World Cup final, be honest, he's not David Silva, right? So production tolerance. Let me tell you something right now. Authority will flex on you all the time. And you'd better know this. You'd better keep it real. I've lived it. Production tolerance. One thing tolerance will never be is above production. Sorry. Jack Grealish has had one. Last season wasn't great. He had a decent season last season. You can't tell me that one decent season means we treat you like Leo Messi now. So, Gutle, if Maradona can't outrun his actions off the pitch, you'd have to be saying to me that you're willing to go with Jack Grealish's talent over what he's giving me off the pitch. And by the way, it's been 16. Since 16, he's 25 now. It's been 9 years of constant problems off the pitch. Let me give you an example, a modern-day example. You know, everybody calls Ronaldinho great and the greatest thing ever. Ronaldinho had 2 world-class seasons at Barcelona. And I know people struggle to hear that. There's a reason PSG let him go willingly at a low price. They let him go for nothing. He would be at nightclubs before the game. Ronaldinho lasted 2 seasons at Barcelona because even that type of transcendent talent cannot outrun this off-the-field stuff. And more, what is football becoming? Corporate. So yes, you know, as the football fan, as the lads, it's a game. That's corporate. Jack Grealish is an asset worth 150 million pounds. When he doesn't behave, what do the sponsors do? What do the sponsors do? You've seen how quick. Listen, we just had an incident in South Africa. A certain insurance company dropped a guy, right? If you tell me it doesn't matter what you do outside, in his private life, he had a private problem. The insurance company dropped him. Don't tell me with corporates. Listen, let me tell you what corporates hate. Them all the time here. They do not have an what James calls an appetite for ambiguity. They hate controversy. Corporates loathe controversy. Jack Grealish is not it. English corporate Villa want to be in the Premier League and be. Listen, Birmingham is a massive city. Manchester is a big city. No, the second city in England. If you, I don't know those who have been to England, right? The second city, Birmingham, is the second city, and that is a buzzing city. You want to find trouble, by the way. You find trouble in the United Kingdom. You head over to Birmingham. That is the second city. If you want to find trouble, you'll find plenty of it there. We're in that, it's a fishbowl because they're everywhere. And he's melting because there's no character. There's no substance to the guy. It's a huge, huge problem. So I'd love to go with you on that. But I know how, especially now we see where sports is headed, that they just will not tolerate controversy unless you are transcendent talent. And he's not transcendent. He's not Mbappe, right? He's not Neymar. Because let me tell you what. Let me give you one more example. Neymar's had his problems, right? It's clear that he's not all football. He had his stuff with that model in the room and in this time. But what did Puma do? We say, hey, let's swallow that. Don't worry, we'll cover that up. We'll be makeup because you are so good. What you'd have to be saying is Jack Grealish is Neymar talent-wise. And we all do this in life, by the way. So I'm not sanctimonious. People with more talent, they can get to work late. The greatest guy in the sales team, he can get to work late. If he hits his numbers, the boss will let him get away with more. I disagree with it, but we do it. It's called the bottom line. And it's what Villa have done, and it's gonna end up costing them. England not going down that route. But Guhle, I hear you. I think it's a nice sentiment, but I don't agree with it. And in my personal life, I can't go with it. Because I've seen what going with talent over character does. And it matters. For me, it matters what you do all the time. I'm not interested in just your talent. There's lots of talented people. There's lots of talented footballers, by the way. Jack Grealish is probably in the middle, sort of, I'd say he's bottom 50% in terms of talent in the Premier League. Please don't associate him with Ronaldinho, Paul Gascoigne, Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira. He's not that level. So what you got to do is you got to bring down what you'll tolerate so that it matches his output. And it's a corporate game. Let's know what you think. Gutle, fair enough. Would love to hear what you say. MKT inspires on the socials. Cliff Central Sport across the board on all the socials. Otherwise, hit us up, sport@cliffcentral.com. Jack Grealish, we'll talk a bit more about him tomorrow because I think more is going to unfold. There's some more stuff coming out. I've got friends in Birmingham. I've got some sources. There is going to be more from this case, I think. So let's see how that unfolds. Love to know what you think. Folks, you could have been anywhere tonight with anybody. You chose to be with me. It has been a pleasure. Thank you for the comments. By the way, before you go, hit like, because that helps us with the algorithm. As Rafa Benitez might say, algorithm. But for tonight, you could have been anywhere with anybody. You chose to be with us. It's an honor. Gareth, Cliff, MKT, Cliff Central Sport, the MKT Show. We are the hell out of here.